Alright, Full-Time Executive Gaming is back, and I'm going to teach you about enchantments. So the first thing... I'm going to teach you is just kind of what the enchantment book looks like. Now, the enchantment book, any enchantment book has the same texture, no matter what enchantment has on it. It's all this texture that I'm clicking on right now. The slot that's highlighted, that's the texture of all enchantment books, no matter what enchantment's on it. It all looks the same. It's the same texture, no matter if it's unbreaking or mending. I use those examples because I'm not going to talk about those today, because I talked about that. I think I talked about my first video. Yeah, I think the first video I talked about mending and unbreaking, and I'm not going to cover those because I covered those in my first video. So if you guys want to learn about mending and unbreaking, I'm just giving you a warning here that I'm not going to cover it in this video because I covered it in my first video. But anyway, I'm just using those examples because I covered it before, and you know, it doesn't matter if it's mending or unbreaking, it's still going to look like that, or any other enchantment, basically. And of course, shulker box. This is a shulker box that's in. I'm going to teach you how to get that later in the series. So there is two parts to. There's two parts to enchantments. The first part is how to get enchantments and all the statistics that go with it, and part 2 is incompatible enchantments. So what enchantments you can't put on the same thing, the same item. I'll get into that more later in the video. But anyway, let's just start with the enchantments themselves, and basically all the statistics behind them. So I'm just going to kind of list that. So the first enchantment is blast protection, and it has 4 levels. Projectile protection has 4 levels. Fire protection has 4 levels. Punch has 2 levels. Fire aspect has 2 levels. Feather falling has 4 levels. Thorns has 3 levels. Respiration has 3 levels. Depth strider has 3 levels. Aqua affinity has 1 level. Efficiency has 5 levels. Silk touch has 1 level. Fortune has 3 levels. Power has 5 levels. Punch has 2 levels. Flame has 1 level. Infinity has 1 level. Look at this. Sea has 3 levels. Lure has 3 levels. Sharpness has 5 levels. Smite has 5 levels. Bane of Arthropods has 5 levels. Knockback has 2 levels. Fire aspects has 2 levels. Looting has 3 levels. Frostwalker has 2 levels. Impaling has 5 levels. Riptide has 3 levels. Loyalty has 3 levels. Channeling has 1 level. Multi-shot has 1 level. Piercing has 4 levels. Quick charge has 3 levels. Speed has 3 levels. Soul speed has 3 levels. Swift sneak has 3 levels. Windburst has 3 levels. Density has 5 levels. Breach has 4 levels. Curse of Binding has 1 level. Curse of Vanishing has 1 level. And the Curse of Binding and Curse of Vanishing are different than the other enchantments that I explained, that I listed ahead before these, because both curses, the Curse of Vanishing and the Curse of Binding, have red text instead of yellow text for the enchantment name. And the reason is because they're curses, and I'll explain why they're unique in a little bit. And an incompatibility. Sharpness, Smite, Bane of Arthropods. Just Sharpness, Smite, and Bane of Arthropods are incompatible on swords, so you can't put any of those those on the same sword. And Piercing, Multi-shot are incompatible on crossbows. Silk touch and Fortune are incompatible on the pickaxe. Protection, all protection enchantments, so projectile, blast, fire protection, and normal protection are all incompatible with each other. Frostwalker and Depth Strider and Frostwalker are incompatible with each other, and Infinity and Mending are incompatible with each other. And the reason there are incompatible enchantments is because Minecraft doesn't want you to get too powerful, and wants the game to still be fair, and so you basically put regulations in. The regulations are this incompatibility, so that you don't become unkillable by a mob or a boss mob or a future boss mob or something. It doesn't want you to become unkillable, because then the game wouldn't really be fun anymore. So basically that's what incompatibility is for. And then I'm going to go back through all the enchantments and explain basically what they are and where to get them too. So I'm going to explain that. So anyway, feather falling, basically, so when you fall, it makes you take less damage when you fall. So basically, it makes you take less fall damage. Thorns, so when a mob hits you, basically the mob will take damage too. But your durability will go down drastically if you put thorns on your armor. Respiration, respiration basically makes you breathe underwater for longer. Depth Strider makes you swim in water faster. Aqua Affinity makes you mine faster underwater. Protection just basically protects you a little bit from everything. Blast Protection reduces the knockback of explosions and also protects you a lot against explosions. Projectile Protection protects you a lot against any projectile, if that's wind charges or an arrow, or something like that. Fire Protection protects you a lot against fire, so that would be lava or fire or anything like that. Punch, basically, Punch is going to knock any mob back when you shoot it with a bow. Fire Aspect is going to set the mob on fire if you hit it with the sword that's enchanted with that. Efficiency basically makes your pickaxe mine faster. Silk Touch so when you mine a block, you'll actually get that block. If usually you don't get that block, so for example, you mine stone, you get cobblestone, but if you use Silk Touch on it, you'll get the normal stone. Fortune, basically, when you mine ores, you have I think it's like a 30% chance to get 30% more ores or something like that. Basically, Fortune makes you be able to get more ores or a chance to get more ores when you mine an ore. Power basically increases the damage done by your bow. Punch or increases the knockback of your bow. Flame basically catches mobs on fire when you shoot a mob with the bow enchanted with flame. Infinity, basically, if you enchant a bow with infinity, it basically makes you have infinite arrows if you have at least one arrow in your inventory. Luck of the Sea. Luck of the Sea basically increases your chance to find valuable items when fishing. That's enchantment books, saddles, and stuff like that. Lure basically increases the chance that you'll catch a fish, basically. Frostwalker, it will put ice. Basically, when you walk on water, the water will temporarily turn to ice. And if there's a light there, the ice will melt. So basically, if it's daytime, the ice will melt. Or if it's nighttime, it won't melt until day. Or if it's under a dark, if there's something above it that's casting a shadow, it's not going to melt until you put torches there. Impaling basically increases the damage done by your... Impaling's a little tricky, because impaling increases the damage done to, aquatic mob... Well, it's different. Java and Bedrock is different. In Bedrock, impaling basically increases the damage of a trident to all mobs that are underwater. They don't have to be underwater mobs. They could just be mobs that happen to be underwater at the time. But in Java, it only does damage to what are considered underwater mobs. So that's Guardians, Elder Guardians, and Drowns. And of course, fish and squid, but, when you're going to, need to do extra damage to a fish or a squid, which literally have like 1 to 5 hearts. Like, you're not going to. Anyway, so it's very different. Impaling is way more overpowered on Bedrock than Java, just a side note. Riptide makes you put yourself underwater with your trident. So basically, you can, like, when you throw your trident, you kind of go with your trident. You kind of glide through the water with your trident, if you know what I mean. Loyalty is when you throw your trident, it will come back to you, basically. You won't just lose it like normally if you throw a trident. Channeling, basically in thunderstorms, if you throw a channeling trident at a mob, it will strike lightning on it. And that could do a lot of good things. If you strike lightning on a creeper, it can make a charged creeper, and if a charged creeper blows up near a mob's head will drop. But, you know, for certain mobs like Endermen and Endermites, and Drowns, that doesn't happen. But you can get zombie heads, you can get piglin heads, you can get skeleton heads. But the Wither Skeleton Skull, that's for another video, because that's totally different. Multi-shot, basically, you can shoot 3 arrows at once out of a crossbow instead of 1. Quick charge, basically, you load your crossbow faster. Sharpness, sharpness basically increases the damage done by your sword. Smite increases the damage done to undead mobs. Undead mobs include mobs like skeletons, zombies, withers, drowns. I don't think I'm missing any. I think that's it. Bane of Arthropods does damage to, does extra, so that's a sword enchantment, does extra damage to arthropods. So arthropods, I think there's only 3 arthropods. I think the arthropods that are in Minecraft are endermites, silverfish, and spiders. Those are the 3 arthropods I think that are in Minecraft. Knockback basically knocks back, oh my god. Knockback basically knocks back mobs further than normally your sword would knock a mob back. That's a sword enchantment. Fire aspect is on your sword, and basically fire aspect, when you hit a mob, basically it will catch that mob on fire. Looting is on your, you can use on your sword to get more of a chance for that mob to drop loot, basically, or to drop more loot, basically. So basically, if you use a looting sword on a mob, it will have more of a chance to drop more of that mob drop than if you killed it with a normal sword. Soul speed, basically, that's enchantment on your boots, and you can move faster on soul soil and soul sand. Swift sneak basically increases your speed when sneaking. Density basically increases the damage done by a mace, and I'll explain that in another video. But basically, density, basically, when you have a mace and you enchant it with density, basically, it will do more damage. It does more, it just basically does more damage each level of that enchantment. It does more damage. Of course, a mace does more damage the higher up it goes, but the enchantment doesn't change. It still does, just gives it that same consistent amount of damage it does, basically. If that makes any sense. Windburst, basically, is for a mace, and when you hit a mob with that, if you hit a mob with a windburst mace, basically you'll be launched up into the air if you successfully use the mace properly, which I'll explain that in another video. But if you successfully use the mace properly, basically you'll be launched in the air, and you can hit another mob, and you'll keep being launched in the air, basically, until you stop hitting mobs, basically. And then breach is an enchantment, and the reason it's different than density is it doesn't automatically do extra damage to mobs. It has a chance to breach armor. So basically it has a chance to basically go through that mob's armor, and the mob's armor isn't relevant. But it doesn't happen all the time. It's just a chance. there's only one more thing that I want to tell you guys, and the last thing is that I should have. This is still for section 1, but I just wanted to tell you this so you guys know. Basically, most enchantments you can get through villagers, enchanting tables, and finding them in chests. But there's some that you can't get through the enchantment table. Soul Speed, Swift Sneak, and the Curse of Binding and Vanishing are all enchantments that you can't get through the enchantment table, and some levels of other ones like Sharpness 5, Smite 5, and Bane of Arthropods 5. Basically, you can't get the level 5 unless you combine 2 4s in an anvil, and it's impossible to get level 5 in the enchantment table. But all enchantments are available through villagers, so that's a good method, because, one, the enchantment table is a bit unreliable, and it takes a lot of your levels, and you have to get more levels, but also, you can't get everything through an enchantment table. Even though villagers are still slightly unreliable, you can get a lot of them. There's there's probably like 10 to 15 villagers per village, and you can get all of them. Imagine all of them, you change their jobs to be librarians. That's like 10 to 15 books, enchantment books, and you basically, you can just, get any enchantment. You could get level 5 of, those enchantments. You could get the rest of the enchantments that you can't get on the enchantment table. So I recommend the villager method. You could find enchantment books through chest, but it's so rare, and to find one, I've only found an enchantment book in a chest probably, I'd say, 6 times in my life. And I've been playing Minecraft for so long. It's not worth it. I'm telling you that right now. It's not worth looking through those chests. It's not worth your time. Yeah. A couple things I want to get to for section 1 is, before I end the video, a couple things I want to get to is basically what the Curse of Binding and Curse of Vanishing do. So, okay, so the Curse of Binding, basically, when someone wears, that's a bad enchantment. And you think enchantments are good, though, even if you get low levels or whatever. And just so you know, each one of these, only has 1 level. But you say, oh, no matter if it's like a low level or a high level, it's always positive, right? Well, there's one enchantment, and it's one of the curses that is negative, and you don't want it. And don't let your friends trick you with this, okay? Basically, the Curse of Binding, if you wear a piece of armor with the Curse of Binding, you're never taking it off. That's right, you heard me. I said it. You're never taking it off. Basically, you can't take off something with the Curse of Binding unless you don't have keep inventory on and you die, and you lose all your stuff, and then the Curse of Binding stuff, will basically, you'll lose that, but of course you'll lose everything else in your inventory too. So that's, you don't want it. If you did Curse of Binding your netherite armor, or I'll talk about netherite in the future, or diamond armor, or whatever high tier armor you're looking for, if you cursed a binding that one, that would be strange, but I guess it wouldn't be negative, because technically it's something you like on, but it's not worth it, guys. It's super rare, and it basically just makes you not able to take your armor off, and it's just not worth it. Even if you do have good armor on, it doesn't do anything for you. It's either negative if you have if your friend said, hey, put this leather armor on, and then it had Curse of Binding on, and you couldn't take it off, or a pumpkin head, one of those carved pumpkins. If someone told you to put that on your head and then have Curse of Binding on it, and basically you couldn't take the card pumpkin off your head, and then you basically just saw these little slits. It's just not good. Avoid it. If you see cursive binding on any of your armor pieces, give it back to whoever gave it to you, or just burn it, or whatever you want to do. I guess if it's netherite, you can't burn it, but that's besides the fact. Anyway, the Curse of Vanishing, that's a really good one. So basically, imagine, this is more for a SMP. If you don't know what an SMP is, it's basically a server that someone sets up, and basically a bunch of people hop on it together, like thousands and thousands, like more like hundreds of thousands, maybe more like millions. People hop on there, and basically Curse of Vanishing would be really valuable in that. I really don't want to get too in depth of this, but basically, in the survival world, that is just you, and in the survival world, usually there's not too much of a heavy competition. I wouldn't say there is a heavy competition. In the survival world, there's really no big fights. PvP, that's something I really don't want to get into right now. But basically, I will explain this. This is not something I want to explain now, nor do I want to explain it in a future video. I will never want to explain this on this channel, because this is about a survival world channel, basically. This is not a channel that is about SMPs and PvP and people killing each other and what the best way is to do that. This is not about that. But basically, if you were just think of the basic idea, there's one group and there's another group, and they're basically fighting it out. And basically you have the Curse of Vanishing. If someone kills you and you have, like, say they have iron armor, enchanted iron armor, and you have enchanted diamond armor, and they happen to kill you. That seems like a pretty low chance, but anyway, let's say they happen to kill you. If you have Curse of Vanishing, they will not, on that item, let's say you put Curse of Vanishing on all your armor and all your tools, they will get nothing from you, literally. The Curse of Vanishing, whatever item you put it on, that item will vanish when they kill you. So if you put on all your items and all your tools, basically, your items will just disappear, and they won't get your good stuff. And they just killed somebody for nothing. And I was going to say something, but then that is not for this channel. That's just too much information that is not related to survival. And that could go so many ways. I want to tell you the basics. That's the basics. That could go so many ways, But PvP, I would just explain to you the basics of that to understand that in the Curse of Vanishing enchantment is not for a survival world. It is for an SMP with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people on there. It's not for your average, 1 to 2 player survival world that basically is not competitive and no one's out to kill each other. Basically, that's not what this is for. So this channel is about survival worlds. So if there's, if you come in contact with a Curse of Vanishing book, if you come in contact with the Curse of Vanishing book, leave it. Just leave it. I've seen one in a chest before, I'm pretty sure. I've seen it once, I think. Once or twice in my life. And I've left it because it's not worth it. And if you're playing with 1 or 2 people that are just helping each other, like a survival world, which is just a community that basically helps each other, and basically just helps each other get good stuff, you're not going to want that. Especially when, imagine that you were fighting the Wither, and the Wither kills you, or the Wither is a big, a main boss. It's just so for reference, the Wither is the second main boss. Anyway, that's for a future video. Anyway, the Wither basically, imagine the Wither kills you. Not gonna get into that because that's for a later video. Imagine the Wither kills you, and you have, Curse of Vanishing on your stuff. That's bad because the wither's not a player that wants to get your stuff. In fact, it can't gain anything from that. So if you lose all your stuff and, pretend you set your spawn point right near where you're fighting the wither, and you go down there and get your stuff, and it's gone because the Curse of Vanishing was on it. That's bad because now you can't get your stuff, and you're left with no armor, no weapons, nothing. And if that happens, you're screwed, and that boss is just going to ruin your world for eternity. And, yeah, it's not a happy ending. Anyway, so basically, oh yeah, there's one thing I want to show you guys. Wait, if you were wondering, you guys are going to need to know how to make an anvil. If you want to anvil enchantments, if you want to enchant books, get it from villagers, enchantment tables, or elsewhere like chests. If you want to just not enchant your armor in an enchantment table and get something good from villagers or something, if you're planning to get something good from villagers, which I highly recommend, and then basically take that really good book. I've gotten, all you have to do is replace the lectern a bunch of times. Basically, you replace the lectern a bunch of times near a villager, and basically what will happen is that if you replace the lectern a bunch of times near a villager, of course you gotta remove all the other job blocks from around the area, but basically if you keep removing it, it will give you a different enchantment, and you can just remove it. Don't trade, because if you trade, it will lock the enchantment. But if you keep breaking the lectern and placing it and over and over again, eventually you'll get the enchantment you want, and that's a way that you can literally get maxed out stuff with probably however you have 9 items with the armor and the tools. If you count the mace, that's 10 items. 10 items. If you get 10 villagers, a village is 10 to 15 villagers. You get 10, usually, maybe 10 to 13. But if you get 10 villagers, you can literally get maxed out gear basically immediately. Maybe not, but basically. You might be able to get 1 or 2 enchantments from another village, but you basically need one village to get maxed out enchantments if you use the villager method, which I highly recommend because that is the best method to use because it's the most effective, obviously, as I just explained. But anyway, I'm going to show you a couple recipes really quickly. So an anvil, there we go. An anvil is, this is why I teach you the iron video before I teach you this video, because now you need a bunch of iron. So now you know to go to Y15 and strip mine, and now you've got all your iron for this. So basically, what you're going to do is you need 3 iron blocks and 4 iron in this formation. The iron block is 9 iron ingots. So basically you're going to need 24 iron ingots to make this anvil. You make it, you place it down, you open the interface, you place your armor in the first slot. You place well, I wouldn't say the first slot. I wouldn't say the first slot because you put your armor in one of the slots and enchantment book in another one of the slots, and keep flipping the enchantment book and the armor around until and look at the XP level, because there's going to be an XP level and tell you how much XP you're using. There's one that's probably going to be it's probably going to be around 5 levels, and there's one you can only use 1 level. So keep switching them around and see. And one of the slots, if you switch them around eventually, you'll find the one that's 1 level. And you want to pay 1 level because you don't want to pay 5 times the levels if you don't have to. And if you pay 5 times the levels, in fact, in the future, you won't be able to get as much enchantments because you can only go to about 50 levels or something. But anyway, not only is it least expensive, but in the future, you'll be able to put the most amount of enchantments on your tools, and the more amount of enchantments you can put on your tools, the more overpowered your tools could get. The last thing, it's a little thing. So the lectern, if you want to make a villager, a librarian villager, which I highly recommend, a lectern, you make it with slabs, which is 4 planks at the top. It doesn't have to be this kind. It doesn't have to be mangrove. It could be any. Just three at the top, 3 planks at the top, and then you'll make 9 slabs. All you need to do is that once, and then a bookshelf is 3 planks at the top, 3 planks at the bottom, and 3 paper. Paper, basically, if you don't know, remember how in the first video I showed you my sugarcane farm? Well, this is where this is coming in. Everything connects. Everything connects, man. So basically, the sugarcane farm, you mine, you take the sugarcane, and basically all you need is 3. And if you don't have a sugarcane farm, that's fine. You can just find sugarcane near shores, near shores, near beaches, near coastlines. You'll find it very common around there. Just get a couple, and all you need to do is grow it near some water. Have one sugarcane grow near water, and basically, if you do that, it will just you'll just have infinite sugarcane like I do here. Very, very simple. But anyway, all you have to do is you have to go into your actual crafting table. You can't go into the crafting table in your inventory because it's not big enough. Go into an actual crafting table, craft some paper, and you'll get 3 paper there. You'll take the planks and the paper and make it into a bookshelf. Take the slabs and the bookshelf and make it into a lectern. And there you go. You've got a lectern that you can get overpowered enchantments. And you've got an anvil, which you can basically enchant to crazy amounts of give you some crazy amounts of enchantments. Basically, make yourself really overpowered as Minecraft allows you to. And basically, that's it. That was a full guide for enchantments. That was not a small guide. That was no basic guide. That was no intermediate level guide. Yeah, we all agree that was a high tier level guide. You might need to take a little bit of time to digest all the things I've said in this video. But for this video, please, all the information I gave you, please like and subscribe, because, honestly, this video, I literally created like 10,000 notes for this video. It was, oh my god, you don't even know how, it took me like hours of preparation just to get all the notes ready, because I have like a whole stack of notes next to me just for this video, because I didn't just come up with all that out of my mind. I knew the basics, but I didn't know literally the exact statistics of all the enchantments. So please like and subscribe, because that was, come on, that was a great video. There's no question about it. That was a great video. Please like and subscribe, share this channel with your friends, and of course, until then, goodbye. Keep trading and trading. I mean, if you keep, no, whoa, don't do that. If you keep